Generative AI has dominated the conversation in 2023. And I've been having a lot of that conversation, right? Talking about generative AI every single day, coming up on 170 plus episodes of the Everyday AI show. But uh, there's something that y'all don't always hear. Uh, I've talked with probably now more than 120 leaders in generative AI. I'm talking about entrepreneurs and startup founders who are building the next generation of AI apps and industry tech leaders from the world's largest companies that I've talked to. And there's always conversations that happen before and after the episode. There's a lot going on behind the scenes. And today, I'm just unleashing it all. We're going to talk about Gen AI in 2024, what's coming and what it means for you. And more importantly, I'm going into 24 bold AI predictions for 2024. What's going on, y'all? My name is Jordan Wilson, and I am the host of Everyday AI. We're a daily live stream, podcast, and free daily newsletter helping everyday people like you and me learn generative AI and leverage it. All right, so normally we start the show off with going into a little bit of depth on what's going on in the AI news. We're going to have the world's shortest version of the AI news. I'm just going to preview a couple things that are in the newsletter. So if you haven't already, make sure to go to youreverydayai.com, sign up for that free daily newsletter. So we'll have a couple stories such as the new Duke of Hazzard's star saying that AI cannot simulate the heart. We're going to talk a little bit more, yes, again, about this new artificial intelligence doom calculator that everyone's talking about, predicting people's death, as well as a new MSNBC article looking at how AI-generated weapons of mass destruction are here. Weird, right? Yeah. I didn't want to take up too much time on today's show. So if you want to know more AI news, if you haven't already, make sure to go to youreverydayai.com, sign up for that free daily newsletter. I wanted to give a little bit more time today to the meat of the show because y'all, today's one of those special ones. Today is one of those special ones. And also, FYI, it is our last live stream of 2023. Yes, we still have the show next week, but y'all voted between our newsletter audience and our live stream audience to replay some of the best shows of 2023. So FYI, next week, that's what we have. I'm personally picking these, some of my favorite episodes of the year, 4 of them to be exact. We won't have a show or a newsletter on Christmas Day, but we will still be bringing you 4 of the top shows from 2023, and we'll still have the daily newsletter. So don't worry if you still need your daily dose of AI. We still have the fresh AI news and everything that's going around in the world of artificial intelligence. So make sure if you still want to keep up in the holiday season, no matter what you're celebrating, we will be there with you. All right. So why am I making these predictions? Well, it's for all of you. Right? It's for people like Trevor joining us, Michael and Douglas and Jay and Cecilia, even the Hotness Unleasher show. What's up, Travis? It's for all of you, right? But here's the other reason why I'm making all of these bold predictions. I've been lucky enough on the Everyday AI show to talk to 120 plus brilliant people. People from Microsoft and IBM and NVIDIA, all the way down to, entrepreneurs, solopreneurs, industry leaders. And like I said, a lot of times there's things we talk about off camera, so to speak, right? When prepping for the show or afterwards. And a lot of times I'm like, wow, this is good. We should have talked about that. But sometimes, people can't. They're like, I can't really talk about this. However, right? So I have a collection of so many, kind of unreleased takes in my head, and just some of my own thoughts, right? And actually, shout out Ben. I think Ben said he was showing up this morning with oven mitts because yes, I do have hot takes, but I'd like to ask y'all. Sometimes I burn bridges, right? When I ask y'all how hot should these hot takes be, but let me know Should we go one emoji, one flame emoji, two flame emojis, three flame emojis? Let me know if you're on the live stream. Also, this is one of those FYI podcast audience. Love you. Thank you so much. You've made Everyday AI a top 10 tech podcast on Spotify. I'm blown away by that, FYI. So thank you. And if you are listening, whether you are on Spotify, Apple podcast, please subscribe to the show, leave us a rating. We very much appreciate this whole thing is only keeping going on because of your support. But let me know, our live audience, how many I can't even count all of these flame emojis that Mike 4G just dropped. But hey, should I go super hot? Should I take it easy? Should I not burn every single bridge? Let me know. But with that, let's get into it. Let's talk about what I have. All right. Douglas said, I think no fire garbage. No fire garbage. All right. All right. So let's get into it. Let's get into these 24 kind of hot takes and hot predictions. And I'll tell you this, not all of these are going to be right. I didn't want to come off with some soft, AI predictions like, oh, everyone's going to be using generative AI. That's boring, right? I wanted our last live stream of the year to be a fun one, but to make us think and to make us really think about what the future of work is going to be like next year. So there is a fun saying in my family group, in my friends group, and I actually don't talk a lot. I know that sounds weird, right? Because if you are on the live stream, on the podcast, you're probably like, Jordan, you talk a lot, right? Shout out to the guy who gave us a 2-star rating, who said this guy talks too much and you can listen to him on 1.5x. And I'm like, nah, you can listen to me on 2x. But there is this saying amongst my family and friends that, I don't talk a lot, but the joke is I'm only wrong until I'm right. And this is one of those cases. I don't know if all of these are going to come true in 2024, but they will. These hot takes, if not already true within a month or so, are going to be true at some point. All right. Yeah, Cecilia, thanks. Says you don't burn bridges. You tell the truth as you see it and normally aren't hallucinating. I love it. All right. Let's get this one going. And hey, I'm going to ask you this a couple of times because I'm going to shout out a couple of my favorite predictions from you all in the newsletter. All right. So even by the time you listen to this on the podcast, the newsletter probably isn't out yet. So you can always check your show notes and reply to me, get your prediction in the comments, just type in my prediction so I can find it easily because there's going to be a lot of comments today. So we're going to feature some of our favorites. All right. So what are your big, bold predictions for 2024? Enough wind up. Let's get into it. Number 24, second computer AI. Everyone's going to be talking about this if they're not already, but this is a trend of remote workers who can't use AI, using it on a second computer. Talk to anyone that you know in remote work, in hybrid work. If their company is banning generative AI tools like ChatGPT or Copilot or something else, you are literally going to be talking about this. Second computer AI. I'm giving it a name right now. Second computer AI, right? Where people are literally just going to be having a second device, their own personal device. Their company is going to say, you can't use AI. They're just going to be using it. It is going to be talked about like it's just like email. Oh yeah, second computer AI. It's going to be a thing, y'all. All right, that's number 24. Yeah, we're counting them down for 2024. So now 23. The education world will change with individualized learning booming. So I already had my hot take episode earlier this week with Jason. So make sure to check that out if you haven't already. I ranted against the education system, but I don't just think this is higher education. I think that you're going to see like the equivalent of Khan Academy, right? And their fantastic generative AI learning tool. I think you're going to see that across all industries, all platforms. The whole learning space is going to change completely. right? So not just education as we think about it, higher education, but learning, training, education in the workplace. It's going to become individualized. Think of, like custom GPTs. Everyone's going to have something like that as your assistant, helping you learn faster, more in depth, more personalized learning. All right. I love we already have some predictions coming in. I might shout a couple out on the show. I like this one, Harvey Castor. What's up, Harvey? Saying his prediction is robot with eyes using ChatGPT 5 in 2024. I love it. I love it. It might even be kind of on my list here, Harvey. Not exactly, but I love it. All right. Number 22. Well, kind of. Look at that. Look at that, Harvey. Look at that great timing. 22, AI robotics will grab the limelight and start being used in real life. Yes, they're already being used in real life, but I think these are kind of fringe cases of their use. But I do see between, Tesla and other, companies like Boston Dynamics, we are going to see the beginning of this wave of robot workers being used. And I'm not just talking about in factory settings and warehouse settings. They're already out there. I'm talking about in office settings. We are going to start to see it. I know that sounds weird. That's what's coming, y'all. That's what's coming. Get used to it. Love this, Douglas. These hot takes brought to you today by OpenAI. They're brought to me. Hey, just brought to me by me. These are all my hot takes. So number 21, AI misinformation will run rampant during the 2024 election cycle here in the US. We've already started to see it, right? We've already started to see it with the election now here in the US, like 10 months and 2 weeks away, something like that. It's coming soon. It's coming soon, right? We're already going to start seeing primaries here in like less than 2 months. If you think you've seen misinformation before, you haven't seen a thing. It's going to be bad. It is going to be bad, right? I go back to one of the first in-depth interviews that OpenAI CEO Sam Altman did. I think this is more than a year ago with Lex Friedman. He said his two biggest concerns about generative AI, or when we get to AGI, which is probably a lot closer than we all think. His two biggest concerns were economic shock and misinformation, disinformation, right? It's going to be bad. It's going to be bad. I mean, we've already seen it a little bit here in U.S. politics. We've talked about it here on the show, both as an example. Former President Trump tried to attribute something and saying, "Oh, that wasn't me. That was AI." It was actually AI. We've seen, politicians on both sides of the aisle already start to use AI generated images. Just wait now that, we have things like Pika Labs and whatever Runway's working on, it is going to be hard to tell the difference, not just between photos, but also short moving videos. That's all political ads are. I think we're going to see a lot of fully AI ads, maybe not from candidates themselves, but we're going to see it, right? And we talked about it on the show. There is already one person that's openly using AI robocalling, which is talking to an AI on the other side. You are going to get bombarded. If you think the election cycle is already, quote unquote, bad enough with, these messages and campaigns and commercials following you everywhere, you haven't seen anything yet. There is so much money in politics. Y'all have no clue. I used to be a political reporter. I don't even have a clue, but I was covering politics at a very high level. You don't know. It is going to be bad. The misinformation, disinformation is going to be bad. So let me go ahead. Yes, here's a hot take. Everyone, don't share any commercial, campaign, political thing on the internet, right? Until you verify if it is real or not. Do your own research, please, because it's going to be bad. All right, let's keep it going. 20. There will be no meaningful AI legislation in the United States. Sorry, I've been saying that all along. There will be zero meaningful AI legislation. All right. The White House executive order, like I said, it's all teeth, no bite. There's actually It's actually all gray area in there. You know, I kind of wanted to do an episode on that. I put it out in a poll. Y'all didn't want to hear it, so I'm not gonna, rail on it. But there's nothing there. There's not going to be any meaningful legislation regarding artificial intelligence in the US in 2024. Why? It is way too important to the US economy, right? I think if you look at all the tech and AI companies, they're the biggest companies in the world now. But I believe there's a study that I read. I think it was like 12 of those companies were responsible for more than 50% of the gains in major indexes, right? Just 12 of the biggest AI companies, your NVIDIAs, your Microsofts, your Apple, your Google, Alphabet, whatever, right? Those are the companies that are pulling the US economy forward, right? So a lot of my hot takes are around the US, but the markets are at an all-time high, right? People maybe don't see that, or maybe they don't feel that, but whether you know this or not, that is because of artificial intelligence, right? I had a show 5 or 6 months ago, and I told you all this. That is why there will be zero meaningful legislation. What we're seeing now out of the EU, that's real legislation. We will not in 2024, especially not before the election cycle. There will be zero meaningful legislation in the US. There should be. Let's be honest. There should be. There won't be. There won't be. I'm going to continue shouting people out. What's up, Kevin? Hey, Kevin, thank you for all your feedback, FYI. So many of you that I'm seeing in the comments here, emailing me, that are listening to the podcast. Kevin gave me some great feedback, by the way. Thank you. But what else? What else do you guys think, right? Brian saying it's going to be an ugly year. I agree. Cecilia is saying at the rate Congress is going, there will be no meaningful legislation of any kind. That's a good point, Cecilia. All right, let's keep this going. We're at number 19. Number 19. And this is, again, my 24 bold AI takes for 2024. Number 19, a lot of talk about AI watermarks, but they won't work. They won't work, right? All the big companies, social media companies, Google, others are saying, oh, hey, we're going to, we really want to increase safety and increase transparency. So we're going to have AI watermarks, just so you can see what's real and what's fake. Guess what? The cheaters are always one step ahead. Start Googling things like take away AI watermarks, and there's already booming products out there, right? Where there's money to be made, someone's going to be making that money. So if you think these invisible AI watermarks are going to work, big companies, no, they will not. There's already software applications out there that take away these invisible watermarks. It's funny. It's funny. That's like AI content detectors. Don't get me started. Don't get me started. And also, what do you guys think? AI watermarks, are they going to work? I'm saying no. Here's a fun one. Maybe this is why we don't have a Twitter audience or X or whatever you want to call. Grok. Yeah. If you haven't heard of Grok, there's probably a reason. It's because it's not very good. But Grok will fade into oblivion unless it integrates with X, Twitter, whatever you want to call it. So Grok is Twitter's or X's large language model. It is largely one of its quote unquote benefits is that it uses real-time data from Twitter, right? Which in theory is great. So you do have to pay $30 a month to use Grok's, the Grok chat, which is again, Twitter's large language model. It's hard for me to call it X, y'all. It sounds weird. So Grok is Twitter's large language model. You have to pay $30 a month to use it. Its main benefit is it is real time, right? So when we look at large language models like, Gemini or GPT-4, GPT 4.5, whatever you want to say, there's knowledge cutoffs, right? Grok is based off real time Twitter data. Guess what? Twitter is a cesspool. I'm sorry. I love it. I love Twitter. I've been on Twitter for, 12, 15 years, whenever it first came out. Probably 2008, something like that. But the majority of information, especially over the last year or so, there's so much hot garbage information, misinformation, disinformation, just straight hallucinations. Personally, I would never use or trust a large language model that its main benefit is, oh, it's up to date with all the content on Twitter. Well, number one, people are using large language model content for Twitter, so it's just a recycling of large language model content anyways. But also just so much misinformation, disinformation. I mean, different countries around the world have millions of bots, right, that are just pushing propaganda, misinformation, disinformation. So I'm personally not going to be excited or optimistic about the success of a large language model like Grok that is based off of just, sorry, a lot of not good content. Not good. Yeah, agree. Mike says Twitter equals platitudes. Yeah, it's shocking misinformation and disinformation. This is good. Hey, I like hearing everyone's opinions. Nadia says she disagrees about Grok. Yeah, I'm sure some people like it. Hey, shout out to all the former guests, by the way. You know, I see quite a few former guests in the comments. So thanks for joining us, y'all. But yeah, sorry. Grok, I think is going to essentially fade into oblivion unless it does integrate with X. And what I mean by that, I probably should have explained that a little better. Essentially, all Grok does right now is it reads that information, but it cannot automate, right? Because I think a lot of people say, oh, if I could use it to automate my Twitter growth or my Twitter posting or whatever, then it might. But right now, it can just read it and use it. FYI. So 17, Apple will join the AI party late, but it'll be the coolest kid at the party, right? So we've been hearing for a long time now, and I've talked about it on the show, what Apple is working on in the AI space, you know, whether it's called Apple GPT or Ajax, whatever their large language model is, and where it will live, right? Those are two very different things. What I see, obviously, is not like a hot take here, but I see it being on device, right? The same way Google, now has Google Gemini Nano, right? So a large language model living on the device, right? So you don't have to be connected to the internet. I do see whatever Apple releases as being that. It'll probably obviously only work with the newest devices. It's another way that they can, sell those new devices. So whether we're talking about 16 and not necessarily, right? Hotness Unleasher / Travis. I'm not necessarily talking about the apps, right? Because there's already AI powered apps, right? That Apple has, like their Apple Maps. No, I'm talking about on the software, right? That's, sorry, on the operating system itself, right? That's the future of Gen AI, is living on your operating system, like Microsoft Copilot, like Gemini. Nano will be living on their devices. But think of it like this: whatever Apple releases, reportedly it will be in 2024. First, I think the report said first quarter, so we'll see. But I do see it living on the device. A GPT that literally just has access to every single thing on your phone. Every single email you've ever read, every single app that you've ever had up on your screen, you'll just be able to talk to whatever Apple's large language model is and be like, hey, what was that text that I got last week about that place that we were supposed to, meet up at with friends, and what did my friend say? And, give me a reply, right? That's the future. But Apple is, Apple, Megan says, Apple, take my money. Same. Apple has taken all my money. They're late to the party, but they will be the coolest kid at the party. And I think, even though I'm not bullish on everything Apple, I think their, Vision Pro headset, at least the first version, is going to be a flop. But I see their Apple Ajax, Apple GPT, whatever you want to call it, being a smash hit, and really being the benchmark for the industry moving forward whenever it does come out. All right, number 16. Bless up for this. Thank you. 16. Home assistants will finally get smart. It has not happened yet. Anyone that uses ChatGPT or any large language model, and then when you use something like Siri, right? There's another place that hopefully we'll see this Apple GPT is Siri, smart assistant. So whether you're using Siri or Alexa or whatever the other ones are called, I don't even know, is Cortana still a thing? What's Google's? You just say, hey, Google, something like that. But they will finally get smart. And this is for the betterment of humanity, because I don't know about y'all, but after using now large language models for a couple of years, because our team has been using, GPT-3 since, late 2020 when it came out, I can't use smart assistants anymore because they are dumb. They're dumb, right? You get so used to having that like recall in a conversation, right? So you say something to ChatGPT, you say like, "Hey, here's this article, give me 10 good points," and then you say, oh, "Okay, what else can you tell me about the article?" Right? ChatGPT and other large language models keep that context in mind, but a smart assistant doesn't, right? It forgets literally everything right after you ask it a question. I finally see 2024, whether it's through acquisitions, whatever. But as an example, Amazon has their own large language model now, Amazon Q. Obviously, Google has an improved model in Google Gemini. I still don't think it's very good, but I see this finally happening in 2024. Okay, thank you, Ted. Ted says it is just, hey, Google. That's why I have smart people in the comments correcting me live as we go. Thanks. All right. So let's keep it going. 15, AI agents will actually become usable. And here's an ultra hot take. Whether this happens in late 2024, maybe this is 2025, but there will be more. Please try again. Did you hear that? One of my even smart assistants. I don't even know where that came from. I don't know if y'all heard that. That wasn't my watch. My phone is on D&D. I didn't hit anything on my computer. That was literally live, a rise of the smart assistants. You maybe didn't hear that, but I think Siri just told me to try again. Sorry. I'm not going to try again. That's my hot take, Siri. All right. Hopefully that goes viral because that was weird. But number 15, AI agents will actually become usable. So whether this happens in 2024 or maybe 2025, but there will 100% be more AI agents than human beings on the planet. Yes, I know there's billions of human beings on the planet. And right now, AI agents are not super usable, but they will be soon. And we'll be talking more about AI agents on the show this year, obviously, but it's coming. And if you don't know what AI agents are, think of it like this. Let's say you have a team of 5 humans, right? And those 5 humans are creating different chats inside of ChatGPT or different, workflow systems in Midjourney, etc. Right? So you have these humans controlling these different AI systems, right? And connecting all the dots, all of that. But now it's going to be agents. It's going to be agents. And FYI, I hope it looks like we're having some technical difficulties. Let's see if we can get this thing going. All right, we're trying this again. We had some technical difficulties. Let me know. Hey, audience. I don't know. I think I literally said something bad about Apple and it kicked me off. Apple said not a chance. Let me know. Let me know if you can hear me out there. This is what happens when we go live. Yeah. I don't know why the cam is off. That's a bummer, but hopefully y'all can hear me still. Let me know, everyone, if you still got me. We'll see. Sorry. This is what happens on a live stream, y'all. This happens sometimes. Don't worry. We're going to finish up. I think and hope y'all can hear me. All right. Thank you. Thank you, Travis. Appreciate that. Give me a second here. Thanks. This is a commercial break from our sponsors, which is Everyday AI. All right, here. We got a backup cam here. Going. Let's get this going. Give me a second. There we go. We're back. Different camera. Y'all, I kid you not. I was using my iPhone and the slide after that I made fun of Siri. It said like try again. And then my iPhone literally shut off. But I got a backup camera. We're back. All right. Thank you, y'all. All right, cool. All right, let's get going. Home assistants will finally get smart. Bless up. AI agents. All right. So I was starting to talk about that. Essentially, in the scenario where you think all these humans are working with all these different large language models, Gen AI systems, an agent essentially is when you have an AI controlling all of those, right? Which there's decent agents out there right now. When you talk about things like LangChain, things like that, but they are going to become finally mainstream. All right. And I do think whether we're talking late 2024, early 2025, there will be more AI agents than humans. I know that's weird. Yeah, Jay, I agree. Siri was listening and literally tried to shut it down. Y'all saw it live. I'm not making it up. All right. Let's keep it going. All right, here's one. I don't even know if we've talked about this on the show, but retrieval augmented generation, which is RAG, will become the next AI buzzword. All right, so what this is essentially a way, if you haven't heard of RAG, it is a way to bring in external data to make large language models more accurate, to cut down on hallucinations. We'll have probably a whole show on RAG 101, but that is going to be the new buzzword, I think, of 2024, right? Literally, the word of 2023, according to dictionary.com, the word of the year was hallucinate, right? When large language models lie. I'm not saying rags will be, or rag will be the dictionary.com word of 2024, but as we enter into January in quarter one, I think we're going to start hearing a lot of business leaders talking about rag, right? It's going to become a verb. Like, oh, let's rag that, right? Let's make sure we have some retrieval augmented generation, bringing in a layer of outside data to improve the accuracy and cut down on hallucinations of those models. All right. Thank you. Thank you, Cecilia, for letting me know. You can hear loud and clear, see loud and clear. Hey, I was almost silenced by AI. Just right there, Nadia, right? All right. Number 13. We got good stuff coming, y'all. Traditional internet browsing becomes unbearable. Unbearable. What does this have to do with AI? A lot. Here's what's already happening. And y'all are going to see and feel this pretty soon. GPT bot, right? That is OpenAI's bot, and it crawls and it scrapes the open internet, and they use that for their large language model. So a couple of months ago, essentially, it became now possible to block GPT bot and other large language models. But what we're seeing from big content publishers, if they're not partnering up with a company like OpenAI, which we're seeing that now, we're seeing a lot of official partnerships, with like entities like Reuters or, the Associated Press, right? But the majority of large publishers are seeing less traffic to their websites, right? Which is bad because that means they're losing money, because so many of these large publishing companies make money by serving ad impressions on their website. So what happens now, I think one of the easiest low-hanging fruit examples is Stack Overflow, right? That's an online community where people go to get kind of technical help, coding help, web development help, etc. And now a lot of people are using ChatGPT, right? Like as a coding assistant or Bard or whatever. So Stack Overflow's traffic is going down. So I'm not saying Stack Overflow is doing this, because they're actually not. But so many other publishing companies are making their internet website unusable. So they're either paywalling harder than ever before and giving you less access to free information, or they're just doubling down or tripling down on the amount of ads on their site. They say, all right, well, if our ad revenue and traffic is down by 50%, here's what we're going to do. We're going to put on 2 or 3x the amount of ads on our site so we can make up for that lost revenue. Because AI search, even though we haven't seen the full implementation, as an example of Google's SGE, search generative experience, they kind of rolled it back and rolled out this like SGE Lite. It's going to catch on sometime in 2024. Publishers know this, so they're trying to double down on the ad revenue that they can get, right? And it is so horrible now. I hate, this sounds weird, I hate using the internet. It is terrible, right? Compared to 3-4 years ago, it was much easier. Now it's not. It stinks. It's difficult to just read the open internet, and that's bad for us all. But hey, you're going to see it in 2024. Number 12. Yes, Maybrit, thank you. GitHub is a great example for what we were just talking about there. Number 12, AI copyright battles will become commonplace, right? I think now we hear every, one or two times a month, a pretty gigantic copyright lawsuit against one of the big companies, against, an OpenAI or a Google, whether it's, book publishers suing because authors are like, hey, this large language model is using my copywritten work. So we hear about pretty big stories twice a month, right? Huge lawsuits. We're going to start hearing them multiple times a week. It is going to ramp up. And like I said, one of the biggest areas of job security I see is lawyers that are making these claims, that are not making these claims, that are representing companies suing, the OpenAIs, the Microsofts, the Google, the Apple, right? Because there's a lot of gray area there. And it's weird, right? Because whether we want to talk about it or not, everything in the Gen AI space is replicated or emulated or mimicked or copy paste duplicated from original copywritten work, right? So yeah, we're going to see a lot of that. We're going to see so many lawsuits, especially as these companies creating the large language models are the companies that are growing the most, right? So yes, as these other companies start to lose money, lose traffic, as an example, what we just talked about, the internet becoming unusable, we are going to see monumental, nonstop lawsuits against these big companies. All right. Yes, I agree with what Jason's saying here. GPT is just a small portion of AI. Absolutely. Yeah, there's obviously other huge large language models that have already gobbled up the history of the internet, open and closed. Yes. All right. Let's keep going. We're almost in our top 10. Thank you all also for sticking with us through those technical difficulties. Apple's trying to shut us down. All right. So number 11, Gen AI training demand will outpace supply. Y'all, I've talked to people, leaders from billion-dollar companies that are even helping, trillion-dollar companies, technically, that are helping create the AI systems that we use. And they tell me, our company hasn't even been fully trained on our generative AI systems, right? There is a need for training, a huge need for it. All right. And actually, with that in mind, I do have our first commercial. This is a commercial brought to you by Everyday AI. All right, because here's why. Here's why. I don't think I've told anyone this. But I spent a lot of time in late October, early November, putting together a generative AI course. And guess what? In true everyday AI fashion, it is free. It is free. It is a free generative AI course covering, I think, 6 different generative AI systems. So ChatGPT, Bing Chat, which is now, Copilot Chat or Bing Copilot, whatever it's called, Midjourney, Runway, 11 Labs, 1 or 2 others, I believe. So I'm going to go ahead and play. Yes, I'm playing a commercial here, but I think it's pretty cool. This was entirely created with generative AI. All right. So I'm going to go ahead. Hopefully y'all can see this. It looks a little fuzzy. I'm going to,
in a world striving
there
for
we go. All right. So hopefully you will be able to hear the audio as well, because also the voiceover, the script, everything from this little commercial here is generated with AI. And I have a 3-hour course teaching you every step of it. It is free. You can learn it. I don't care who you are. You will learn at least one thing in this free course. All right. So let's go ahead and play. And hopefully you'll be able to hear. This is the debut. I spent so much time on this. I'm excited. Ready? Here we go.
In a world striving for sustainability, Rebel Refill emerges as more than just a water bottle. It's a symbol of change, a beacon for the eco-conscious. Crafted from earth-friendly materials, each bottle tells a story of commitment to our planet, to our future. With its innovative collapsible design, Rebel Refill isn't just saving space, it's saving our oceans from plastic waste. Join the movement. Embrace a lifestyle where every refill is a step towards a greener tomorrow. Rebel Refill, hydrating the world, one sustainable sip at a time.
All right. There we go. There we go.
Pre-built Flutter.
All right. What do you guys think? That was all AI, FYI. The whole thing. The script, the script was AI, obviously the voiceover, the images, the strategy, even the building of this imaginary company was all done with generative AI systems. I am teaching you all of this 3 hours. You do it at your own pace. So if you want access to it, just do this. Whether you do it now or if you're listening on the podcast, share this, right? That's all you got to do. So if you're on LinkedIn, all you got to do is repost this to your audience, and I'll shoot you over the info on how to access this free course. There's no upsell at the end, right? If you all know me, I'm huge on Gen AI training. I'm huge on helping people. All you got to do, nothing else, is just repost this on, I think this is on Twitter, LinkedIn, but LinkedIn is probably the easiest. So if you're listening on the podcast, there's always links to come back. Share this episode, and I'll give you access. That's it. Yes, thank you. Thank you, Travis /Hotness Unleasher Studios. So yeah, if you're tuning in on LinkedIn, yeah, you can't share on YouTube. Thank you for calling that out. I see you're joining us from YouTube. So make sure you go to the LinkedIn or the Twitter stream. All you got to do is repost this to your audience or, share this on Twitter. Y'all, I'm not selling you anything. There's nothing to sell after this. Yeah. So Jad, if you want access, that's all you got to do. Yes, the pacing of the voiceover was good. Guess what? I teach you how to do all of this. So you can use and learn all of these generative AI tools. Like I said, ChatGPT, Bing, Copilot Chat, Midjourney, Runway, 11 Labs. I literally think I'm missing one other Gen AI tool that we use. So yeah, all you got to do, share this, and I'll give you the access. All right. Let's get this going. We're at our top 10. I know this is a long episode, y'all. Let's keep it going. Number 10, big tech companies are going to just become venture arms, right? Venture capital. So I'm talking about Microsoft, Amazon, NVIDIA, Google, etc. And we're already starting to see it. Here's the thing. I think traditional venture studios, venture capital, they've been a little bearish, right? In 2023 on all these AI companies. We've already started to see, right? And this isn't anything new, but I think we're going to see it even more. Instead of talking about traditional venture capital companies investing billions of dollars into AI, it is going to be all of these other big tech companies. We've already seen it, right? Like I was just talking about like Runway, right? Runway has received huge investments already from places like Google, Salesforce, right? All of these big companies in 2024, I see all of them investing multiple billions of dollars into other generative AI companies. All right. Hey, we have more people asking. So all you have to do to get access to that course that I just showed you, it's a 3-hour course. You can learn multiple generative AI systems, how they all work with each other. If you're listening on the podcast, we always check the show notes. So you just have to find this live stream, right? In this live stream, whether you're watching, you can't share anything on YouTube, but on Twitter, all you have to do is retweet it on Twitter. If you're on LinkedIn, there should be a repost button on this actual stream. All you have to do is repost it, share it with your audience, and I will share the way you can access this course. Jad's already on it. Thanks, Jad. All right, let's keep going. We got our top 10 now. So number 9, NVIDIA stock will continue to soar. There wasn't a single company this year that added the market cap that NVIDIA did. And y'all, don't say I didn't warn you. I literally told you guys back in, I don't know what it was, May, that NVIDIA was the most important company to the US economy. And look what NVIDIA did over the course of a year. They more than tripled their value. which is insane for a company with a multiple $1 trillion market cap. I think they're up to, or maybe they might not be. Let's see. All right, not multiple trillion, but a $1 trillion plus. They're at 1 point something. That is insane. And I don't see that slowing down. Again, I talk a lot on the show about chips, even though it's dorky, but chips are powering the future of the US economy because all of these large language models, generative AI, everything that's pushing the US economy forward, everyone needs these GPUs, right? These GPU chips that power the generative AI movement. And right now, you can't buy them fast enough. You can't buy them fast enough. Demand is far outpacing supply. And right now, no one can compete with NVIDIA's GPU chips to power generative AI. And I don't see that changing. Even though competitors are raising hundreds of millions of dollars to try to compete with NVIDIA, NVIDIA has such a far head start and they have so much cash flowing right now. I think they're going to continue to stay ahead. And they're, like I said, I don't think it's going to change. I think that they will continue to be one of the most important companies in the US economy. And I think that's it's telling when you see what happened over the last year. I like this. Nadia says, when people are after gold, sell shovels. That's what the makers of processors are doing. Yes, absolutely, Nadia. All right. Also, I do have something fun to announce later, a little partnership I'm working on with NVIDIA. So yeah, more details on that later. All right. And also, hey, get your hot takes in now. Get your predictions. I know this is a longer episode, but I want to read some of your predictions as well and feature some of them in the newsletter. All right, number 8, GPT-5 will outshine Gemini Ultra. So obviously Google announced Gemini, but they completely fumbled. They fumbled it. They fumbled the announcement. Everything they could have gotten wrong with the announcement, they did. Still, we haven't seen Gemini Ultra yet, which is their ultra premium version, right, of Gemini Pro, which we all have access to right now inside of Google Bard. GPT-5 is not out yet. It is the assumption that GPT-5 will be released in 2024 at some point. We may or may not already have access to GPT 4.5, depending on if you believe the rumors. But I think by the time when and if Google does finally unleash or unwrap Gemini Ultra to the general public, it'll be too little too late, right? Because at some point, OpenAI is going to be releasing GPT-5. I do see it coming this year, even though reportedly they aren't working on it, but they're obviously working on something. But GPT-5 will take Google Gemini Ultra's lunch money, and it won't even be close, right? And here's the reason I say that. When you look at apples to apples comparison of benchmarking their currently available model, Gemini Pro, it is competing with GPT 3.5. It's not competing with even GPT-4, right? It's not. When you look at an apples to apples comparison, it is behind GPT-4. So literally, I don't know what is going on with Google's go-to-market strategy with all their Gen AI offerings. I think they're fumbling all over. And I think that's why companies like Microsoft, like OpenAI, and even Apple, right? Apple, even though they've been silent, I don't think they've fumbled it, right? They haven't fumbled it yet. But GPT-5 is going to take Ultra's lunch money. Number 7, 2024 will be the year of AI video, specifically Pico Labs, right? I got access the other day. I know a lot of you have as well. Also, I love when y'all hit me up, DMs, emails, and saying, hey, I get access to this. So thank you for that, because I like to see that when everyone else gets access. So I got access to Pico Labs 1.0 the other day. Haven't used it yet, but from what I've seen, Pico Labs is amazing, right? So when we talk about the quality, right, because we also have to talk about the quality of AI images, right? So as an example, that elevates what we can make with AI video with tools such as Pico Labs, tools such as Runway. If Runway comes out with a Gen 3 in 2024, I'm guessing they will, because of how powerful and how ahead of the game Pika Labs 1 is. But as the quality of AI image generation, as an example, Midjourney V6, that actually ramps up what we can do with video, right? Because AI video, you can obviously start with an image. So as the quality of AI images increases, the quality and the usability of what we can do inside of these AI video tools, it also increases significantly. So even that example that I just showed you guys for the free course. So again, if you want access, just make sure to share this, repost this episode. But that was made with, the images were made with Midjourney 5.2, right? And Pika Labs wasn't even out when I made that. So if I remade that course with all those new tools, the quality would even be better than that, even though I think the quality of that's pretty good. All right, here we go. Number 6, big GPT wrappers will start dying. All right. So there were companies that achieved unicorn status, right? $1 billion plus valuations, generative AI companies that were just rappers. So I'm not talking like beatboxing rappers. I'm talking about with a W. I'm not talking Christmas present rappers, but essentially what a rapper is when companies build their company around, in this instance, GPT, right? So tapping into OpenAI's API and creating a product essentially as a wrapper, or, it's foundationally just using another company's technology. So the problem with this, and I've talked about this, I had an episode, why so many AI startups are going to die, is because they don't really have very many unique offerings or unique value to their product. And I do think that we're going to see some big names. Specifically, some people call them GPT writers, GPT rappers. In 2024, we're going to see some huge names in this space either die or get acquired. Period. All right. Number 5. Here we go. Top 5. What are your predictions? I want to make sure I get some of your predictions here. I want to feature some of them in the newsletter. Get your predictions in. I want to hear them. Or which one am I wrong on? All right, number 5. OpenAI will need a GPT boost for its GPT store to be a smash hit. Yes, I am always a huge fan of what OpenAI has going on. I do think their GPT store, which they should be releasing, I think they said either January or first quarter, I think it will be a game changer. Here's the thing. As it is now, I don't think that's how it will be. All right. What do I mean by that? So I think either we will see an official GPT 4.5 update before that happens. I think we will first see additional features being available while you're building custom GPTs, such as, maybe real-time web access. And I'm not talking browse with Bing. That's not real-time web access. Maybe plugin functionality. I don't know. But I do see in order for the GPT store, when it is released, to be the hit that it can be, right? Because I do think it can be eventually, it can be in the same realm as like the Apple App Store in terms of popularity, in terms of, bringing in billions of dollars of revenue, because there will be a revenue sharing model. Yes, there will be free GPTs, but there will be paid GPTs as well. But I don't think GPTs are quite there. I think we're going to see an announcement of new features or new capabilities at some point in the first quarter to the GPTs, because right now they haven't really been updated. They're a little more stable than they were, when they first came out mid-November, but I see some updates coming. All right, here we go. Number 4. You aren't going to like this, but it's the truth. Job prospects will be scary. AI in the workplace will lead to massive job loss in the US in 2024. I'm sorry. I'm tired of everyone on social media, LinkedIn, Twitter, wherever, repeating the same garbage statement. AI won't take your job. Someone using AI will. That is false. Can we stop saying that, please? For the sake of the future of not just the US economy, but for the future of everyone's job security, stop saying that, because it is false. It is patently false. Everything about that statement is wrong. Stop saying it. Because here's the thing. That person using generative AI won't just take the person not using generative AI's job, but they will also take 3, 4, 5, 10 other people's jobs. It is not a one-to-one replacement. When companies finally figure out generative AI, finally, right? And I think some companies are getting close, right? There's no training, which is huge. There's these products rolling out, your your Microsoft 365 Copilot, your Amazon Q, your Chat GPT Enterprise. There's these products rolling out. There's not training. So I think training is going to be huge in the earlier part of the year. And then you're going to see, once companies finally understand, once they finally get their guardrails in place, they understand data security, they understand privacy, they understand ethics, they're going to be like, oh my gosh, this can replace 20% of our workforce. This can replace 30%, 40%, 50% of our workforce. We are going to see it. I don't care. I don't care if you hate me for saying it, if you disagree. And then everyone says, oh yes, Jordan, well, AI will create so many other jobs. Yeah, it will. Of course. But that's not one-to-one either. And here's the thing. And I think one of our commenters on the show actually gave me this line. So shout out Travis at Hotnish Unleasher. I think he said, to quote him, Wall Street hates employees. And that's a fact. That's a fact. Look at what happens after large companies announce that they are implementing a new generative AI system, or they are investing billions of dollars into AI, but at the same time, they're laying off employees. Their stock shoots through the roof. Wall Street hates employees. Generative AI systems, once companies figure out how to use it, they're going to make decisions that are not necessarily ethical. All right? Period. I don't care. I'm sorry. I know that's not a nice thing to talk about, but if you're listening to this show, if you're reading our newsletter, listening to this podcast, you are ahead of everyone else. You are. You have to continually learn. You have to continually adapt, because I do think we're going to be seeing this a lot in the latter part of 2024. Companies announcing, hey, we're cutting this many thousands of jobs, tens of thousands, or we're not hiring. Normally we hire, 5,000 people a year. We're not hiring anymore because these jobs are going to AI implementation. It is not a one-to-one replacement. And also, it is not a one-to-one job creation. That is literally not how generative AI works. Just wait until agents get better. It's not good, y'all. It's not good. Okay, I'm sorry, but I'm not sorry, because I'm telling you, and you can do something about it, right? If you are ahead of your coworkers, if you are pushing and constantly learning new skills, I think you'll be okay for the most part, right? But that's happening, whether we want to talk about it or not. I'm sorry, even if I lose listeners, I'm sorry if I offend you, if I scare you, I'm sorry. That's the reality. It's happening in 2024. All right. Number 3, early AI movers in the business world will gobble up bigger competitors. So I am literally talking about generational Fortune 5,000 companies will start bleeding and get leapfrogged or even acquired by smaller companies, right? I think a lot of enterprise companies are a little too slow at integrating generative AI, or they're making bad decisions, right? I see a lot of companies thinking that they need to create their own large language model. And what people don't know is if you do that, it's multiple millions of dollars to do that. If you want to create your own large language model, versus, doing some integration. And that's where we're going to be talking a lot more about RAG in 2024. But big companies are making bad decisions, and other companies are making good decisions. So I literally see in 2024, right? I could see it happening in management consulting, right? Where a smaller management consulting company that is maybe investing much more into their own generative AI operations and their training. Some companies, as an example, I think Accenture is really pushing Gen AI use. I think EY is pushing Gen AI use, right? Those are two that I've seen, that I've noticed. Even if we're just talking management consultant companies, I think others maybe aren't, or maybe they're just dipping their toe, right? That's one space I'm seeing smaller companies start to acquire market share and maybe even acquire a larger competitor or a kind of a combination of the two, a merger. So we'll see. Yeah. Nadia says, I agree. Companies need to innovate or die. Yeah. I agree. All right, getting back to our last one. Someone asking, what jobs do you see at risk? Coders, analysts, sales, customer service, etc. Yes, to answer that question. I mean, if I'm being honest, any knowledge worker, right? If you spend the majority of your day doing knowledge work in front of a computer, that industry is at risk, right? Yeah, any. And again, I'm not trying to be doom and gloom here. I'm just trying to be the reality, because everyone else out there talking about generative AI is just, trying to get you to buy some dumb product. Here's my prompt books. Share this and you get my prompt books. Large language models and generative AI is an essential skill set for anyone and everyone, regardless of where you work, regardless of what you do, period. It's essential. You need to be learning and practicing and using generative models every single day. Your company, every single day, or you're going to get leapfrogged, period. All right. Yes, but I do see number 3 happening. Early AI movers, companies that already have their plan in motion, they're going to gobble everyone else up. All right. Number 2, we got 2 more. Yeah, we got 2 more. All right. Number 2, big acquisition in the large language model space. So I see either Google, Microsoft, OpenAI, or Anthropic making an acquisition of a smaller LLM company. All right. I don't know what said company is. You know what? And I'll throw Amazon in there on that list too. So I'm going to say Google, Microsoft, Amazon, OpenAI, or Anthropic will make an acquisition in the large language model space, a big one. I don't know what, but it's bound to happen. That is natural progression of business. When there's that much money, when there's that much at stake, when it is this competitive, a big acquisition is going to happen. Someone that people are going to look at. Yeah, it could be Mistral. I don't know. People are going to be looking at this and be shocked. It's going to happen in 2024. You will be shocked. I don't know what it is. I'll be a little shocked, but not very shocked, because it's going to happen, right? That's a bold prediction. Last but not least, number 1 of our 24 bold predictions for generative AI in 2024. The Gen AI wave will become a 2024 tsunami, right? So this wave that we've talked about in 2023, it is only going to get bigger. The hype cycle will not die down, right? So we have this Gartner chart here, kind of mapping out the AI hype cycle, and it's kind of hard to see here. Maybe I can make myself a bit smaller. There we go. So it has generative AI, about going into, according to, the standard hype cycle, heading into the trough of disillusionment. Nope. That's wrong. That's wrong. If you think that the Gen AI hype is dying down, that means you don't understand business. You don't understand technology. You don't understand how the world works. If you think we're going to stop talking about generative AI in 2024, if you think we're going to stop talking about large language models, if you think we're going to stop talking about ChatGPT, if you think we're going to stop talking about, Google Gemini, you are wrong. If you think if you think we're going to start to go into this trough of disillusionment, or if you think the hype will die down, you are wrong. You don't understand how business works. Dead wrong. We will be talking more and more about AI. More and more companies are going to be using it in 2024. If you are not already prompting daily, right? If you're not already using some form of large language model, generative AI daily, you will very likely be, or a much higher percentage will be, at some point in 2024. Period. All right. Whew. So, yes, let me know. There might be a lot of people, but if you did repost this episode, if you want access to this training, because all of these things I talked about, right? All of these things I talked about all require training. It requires you to stay ahead of the game. It requires you to stay ahead of your peers, ahead of your company's competitors. So if you did share this episode, let me also know. Just type live course. So all you got to do, share this episode. I'll send you that information, and also just type live course. That'll help me. But you got to share this episode too. Also, I'll send you. I have more hot takes. As always, I had way more than 24. I think I had like 48. So I actually have 24 more hot takes. So if you share this, I'll also send you those other hot takes over as well. All right. And like I said, this is our last live stream of 2023. We will have shows Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday. Next week, we will be playing some of our favorite shows from 2023. But if you need something else to do this holiday season, we had our 12 days of plugins, going over some of our favorite ChatGPT plugins. We're going to share that in the newsletter. We're going to be putting them all on one page on our website, so you can go through and just gobble them all up in one sitting. So, like I said, this everyday AI, and I want to reemphasize this, because if you're not already in our newsletter, you need to do that now. You need to go to youreverydayai.com, sign up for the free daily newsletter. Thank you for those of you joining on the podcast, on the live stream. We are making a ton of changes, and I'm showing some results of polls up here on the screen. You out there listening, watching, reading, we build everyday AI for you. We're going to have a lot more polls in our newsletter, and whatever you say goes, right? I had an example the other day. I said, hey, should I make an AI clone of my voice and then have that AI clone every day read you the newsletter? Y'all said yes, so I did it. Right? People are asking me for, hey, make everyday AI merch. And I said, no, I don't want to. So I'll probably put a poll, and if you guys want it, I'll do it. Whatever you guys want, that is what we're going to be building in 2024. This is all about you. I started Everyday AI because there is so much bad information out there. I wanted to create the world's largest group of AI enthusiasts, and to create something free, something valuable for you. So everything that we're doing is for you. So we're going to be having a lot more polls, a lot more community events in 2024. That's actually what our team is going to be working on all next week. So make sure, if you haven't already, go to youreverydayai.com. If you're like Brian here asking, how do you get to the newsletter? You just go to youreverydayai.com. We always have it in the show notes as well, so you can just click it, sign up for that free daily newsletter. We have a lot more. We have a lot more coming, y'all. 2024 is going to be exciting. Not just what happens in the generative AI space, but also, I think, some new improvements that we're going to be making here at Everyday AI. I can't thank you enough. This year, there's a lot of uncertainty with what's happening in the world. And I can't thank you all enough. So whether you're listening on the podcast, yeah, I know today's was a little wild. We had some technical difficulties. It's a long show. So thank you so much for supporting on the podcast. Always, if you're listening on the podcast, please leave us a rating, please subscribe, but also just email me. Tell me what we can do better. Tell me what you need to succeed, to grow your company, to grow your career. That's what Everyday AI is about. Thank you so much. I am signing off for the last time live in 2023. We'll still be here next week. Don't worry. We'll be there in the newsletter, delivering fresh news, fresh finds, everything that's going on in the AI world. But Live Jordan is signing off for 2023. Thank you. I appreciate you. We'll see you again at Everyday AI. Thanks, y'all.